So for practice, letter A, true. B, false. C, true. D, QR with a line over top of it, like a bar over top of it for the line segment. And then E is Roman numeral 1 and Roman numeral 2. Hi, Juliana.
Hi.
Glad you can make it. We're going to change to Zoom tomorrow, Juliana. I'm sending the information to your mom's email, and then you'll just have to download it onto Yuri's thing or your dad or whoever it is, and we'll meet that way. We've tested it a couple of times, and it works really well, much better than this one does. It may even help you from getting kicked off all the time, like seems to happen with you. So we'll see what occurs there. All right. Did you just miss the answers for the practice?
What?
Did you hear the answers for the practice?
Well, I did it, so yeah.
Yeah, so here it is.
The last two.
Huh?
I heard the last two.
Okay, so the first three are true, false, true.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Okay, who else got check mark? Brianna too?
Me. I got one.
Katie also. And then what about you, Eric?
No.
Can't hear you.
No.
No? Okay, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and look at the lesson then. Evens only, number 2, 5 kilometers. 4, A is C and B is A. 6 is 5. 8 is 50. 10, A is 1 1/4. B is 125%. 12 is 3/4. 14 is 12.41. Any questions? Okay. Number 16 is 70 cents. 18 is 960 boxes, 960. 20 is $1.35. 22 is 6 square inches. 24 is 51 square centimeters. 26 is 40. 28 is 22 centimeters. And 30 is equals.
As well as 22 and 24.
22 is 6 square inches and 24 is 51 square centimeters. That's where that one was missing from. All right, let me get grades from you. Eric?
29. No.
You only missed a half?
No, I missed one. I mean, yeah, I missed a half.
You got to double it.
Yeah. I minus half. Number
Gotcha.
28, I didn't label it.
No, that's fine. That's what I was asking about. Okay, Juliana?
25.
You missed 2.5?
Hmm?
You missed 2.5?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Andre's not here. Katie?
26.
And Brianna?
26.
Couldn't hear you.
26.
Thank you. All right, look at the next lesson, 110. All right, symmetry. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this before, but when they've done studies of people who, they'll give people like a set of pictures, and they'll ask which ones they think look the most beautiful. And what they noticed that was common amongst people are the ones that were the best looking, most handsome, whatever it is. You know, aside from me, I was never in the pictures. Otherwise, it would be me chosen all the time, I'm sure. But what they did was they actually found out that the ones that had the best symmetry, in other words, the right side of their face would be the same as the left side of their face. It was very, very similar. And they said that when people had symmetry like that, that it actually made people think that they were more beautiful or handsome or whatever it is. So what you're talking about symmetry is what you're doing is divide it in half so that both sides are equal. Now it can be any shape that you're talking about, and some shapes will have more than one angle of symmetry. All right, for instance, a square. All right, a square, if you think of a square, oh, there it is. A square has actually 4 lines of symmetry. In other words, when you divide it in half, it's going to be the same no matter which direction you do it. You can divide it in half this way, and it would be the same front and back. You can divide it this way, and it'd be the same that way. And also at the corners in that direction, and the corners this direction. So there are actually 4 lines of symmetry for a square. Now, depending on the rectangle or the triangle or whatever the shape is, will determine whether or not it's symmetry. But the idea is this: wherever you put that line down, it's like a mirror, so that both halves, if you folded it over on that line, would match up exactly. All right. In other words, they would fold over like a piece of paper, would fold over, and it would be exactly the same. So a rectangle would be different than a square, because even though a rectangle is a square, I mean, a square is a rectangle, and you could do the vertical one that would go through and split it in half. You can do the horizontal one that would go through and split it in half. But once you start doing the angle, the one at the angle like this, you notice that this corner, when it folds over, will end up down here, not matching up with this corner. So those lines of symmetry from the diagonal part would not work. Okay, so a rectangle only has 2 lines of symmetry in that, and that's what you've got to look at when you're talking about trying to figure out lines of symmetry. So look at example 1. It says this rectangle has how many lines of symmetry, and we found out it was 2 altogether. All right, did anybody have any questions as to what I'm talking about with the diagonal? Or did everybody pretty much get that? It's pretty easy. Okay. So then it says which. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be 4 lines of symmetry?
Not for a rectangle. And here's the reason why. If you take a piece of paper, I'll show you. Can you see me,
Yes,
Katie?
I can see you.
Okay. So let me show you on a piece of paper. Just trying to find one that's rectangular. All right. So here's a rectangle, right? All right. I can fold it that way, and it matches up. All the sides match up. Okay. I can fold it that way, and it matches up exactly. Right?
Whoa.
But if I fold it this way, you see how it doesn't match up?
Oh. Okay.
The corners don't match. So that means that that's not a line of symmetry, or the other direction, because they've got to match up exactly. Even though they look the same and they'll be the same exact shape, they're just not matching up in the corners. So everything has to match exactly on it. Okay? Does that help? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's look at the second one. It says, which of these triangles does not appear to be symmetrical? Now, if you're just looking at it, I think letter A would be what's called a equilateral triangle. In other words, every line is the same shape. I mean, same distance apart, or same distance in length. So they're all 3 the same. They have the same angles in the middle, which would be 60 degrees for each angle. And so there are actually 3 lines of symmetry for that one. In fact, in the first example, it shows you all 3 lines of symmetry for that particular triangle. Letter B has 1. That's called an isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle has 2 sides that are the same length, but then one of the sides is going to be shorter or longer than the other 2 sides. So in this case, we'll make we'll make it longer. All right. So that, but the 2 sides are the same, but not the bottom part, or not the bottom, but the side, what they call the hypotenuse on the right side there. And that is going to be only 1 line of symmetry when you have 2 equal sides. But then the other one, you can tell there's not one side that's equal length. And so when you try to divide that one, if you look on the next page, well, it doesn't even give it to you on the next page, but there is no line of symmetry there. No matter how you try to divide it, it's not going to work. I'll show you another example of that with my handy dandy paper again. I'll create a triangle that's sort of that shape. All right, so here's a semi-triangle. Didn't do a very good job of it. Got to get the corners to match up. By the way, guys, pray for Miss Mullins. Her grandmother had a stroke last night. She was in the hospital, and apparently she had a pretty massive stroke, and she's in a coma. They don't expect her to wake up from the coma. So I know that's difficult for her. She used to live with her grandmother for a long time when she first started working here at the school for several years before she moved in over there. But just pray for her and her family. All right, so this would be like similar triangle, what they're talking about. It doesn't matter which way you try to fold it. It's not going to match up. No matter what you do, it's just not going to match up. And so that's the idea of what they're talking about there. So all three sides different. It's not going to have any lines of symmetry. All right. Bless you. Okay. So on your practices, you only have 2 things to do and 2 questions to basically answer. And so that should make it easy for you. Any questions about lines of symmetry? By the way, your lesson, bless you, your lesson's not due until next Monday because we have a test tomorrow. But also, very important to understand, this lesson is a full lesson. But next week, since we have lessons every day, Monday through Friday, I'm going to give you half lessons for every day next week. Okay?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you have a little bit of catching up to do, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know why my mom brought those 2 envelopes. I wasn't even done with them. I was actually
You had-
confused. When you were
we could have
telling me
this-
about it, I
No.
was like confused. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Oh, I think she was probably a little surprised that there was nothing done in them too. Wouldn't you say?
Uh-huh.
She probably had assumed that you had done everything that you were supposed to do. So that's why she just grabbed them probably and took them. Now, why she brought the other one? She brought your files too. I have no idea why, but
Yeah.
I'll send all that back to you. By the way, if she wants to come and pick them up at a different time, I can have them ready for her if you wanted time to do stuff over the weekend instead of waiting until then.
Yeah.
So just let her know and let me know when you'd be by if you're going to do that.
Okay.
All right. All right. So let's see here. All right. Let's look at language, Jen. All right. So page 170. I think was your. Oh, that's never mind. Never mind. That's 5th grade. Wait a minute. They've got a test coming up next week. You got one tomorrow for language. All right. So let's see where I was. Remember what I assigned you here. All right. So we did the sentence on page 184 together. Capitalization and punctuation. We did the first 2 together, and then they were supposed to do it for points for the one on the bottom there, right? Or the rest of them. And then also, what was the other thing for points? Was it just verbs? Was it that also? Okay. Here we go. All right, half a point for each thing, okay? And if you do something extra, that's minus half. Something that shouldn't have been there. I'm trying to remember how far we got down to number 3. We did number 3. Did we do number 4 also? Yes, we did number 4 and number 5. Okay, so it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, here we go. Number 6. So BIC, B-I-C should be capitalized. The B should be capitalized. Comma after red, comma after green, and comma after blue. Okay. All right, number 7. First of all, what do you call it? An apostrophe between the A and the S, between the B and the S, between the C and the S, and between the D and the S. And then a comma after the A's, B's, C's, and D's. So 4 commas and 4 apostrophes in there. All right, number 8. Johann Strauss should be capitalized. Comma after Strauss. Junior should be capitalized and a period after junior. And then a semicolon there. And then Tales from the Vienna Woods should be in quotation marks. That counts as one thing. Oh, I forgot Viennese at the beginning of the sentence. The third word should be capitalized. And then tails and then Vienna Woods should be capitalized. Any questions on that? Okay. Number 9, comma after 16, comma after 1945. Los Alamos should both be capitalized, comma after Alamos. New Mexico should be capitalized, comma after New Mexico. I'm sorry, after Mexico. And that's it. And then number 10, comma after asked, and then opening quotation, and then can should be capitalized. Then Mayflower, Aaron should both be capitalized. Mayflower should be underlined because that's the name of a ship. Comma after Mayflower, and then Aaron should be capitalized. I already said that, but Aaron should be capitalized because it's the name of somebody. And then a closing quotation at the end. All right? All right, any questions on any of those? All right. Moving on. These are the things that should be crossed out. Now, each sentence is worth 1 point, and some of them have 2 sets. So it's half a point for each one if there are 2 sets. Otherwise, if there's just one, then it's only worth 1 point. All right. So number 1, raised should be crossed out. Catched should be crossed out. Number 2, digged, D-I-G-G-E-D, and D-I-D should be crossed out. Number 3, set, S-E-T, and sleeped, S-L-E-E-P-E-D should be crossed out. Number 4, went should be crossed out. Number 5, can should be crossed out. Number 6, node, K-N-O-W-E-D, and 8, A-T-E should be crossed out. Number 7, laid, L-A-I-D, and raise, R-A-I-S-E, should be both crossed out. Number 8, ringed, W-R-I-N-G-E-D, and weeped, W-E-E-P-E-D, should be crossed out. Number 9, L-A-I-D should be crossed out. And then number 10, raised, should be crossed out. Number 11, give and swim should both be crossed out. 12, setting, S-E-T-T-I-N-G, should be crossed out. Number 13, throwed. Number 14, new. And 15, growed should all be crossed out. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get, just tell me how many you missed when I call in your name. All right, Eric.
-3 altogether.
All right, Juliana. You have a question? Oh, your microphone, Juliana.
Four and a half.
Thank you. All right, Katie.
0.
All right, and then Brianna.
4.
All right. So, I didn't assign using nouns to you, did I?
No.
Okay.
No.
So let's look at that, and then let's look at how each of these things are used. All right. Now remember, whenever you're doing sentences, even if you're not looking for the verb and the subjects and the prepositional phrases, which in this case you will be somewhat, make sure that you find those things anyway. It'll help you when you do that. So let's do that on number 1. What is the verb in number 1?
Is.
Okay. Who or what is?
Mr. Allmeyer.
Mr. Almer.
Okay, Mr. Allmeyer. So Mr. Allmeyer is the subject, and so you can put S above him, so he's taken care of right now. All right, now is what kind of a verb? I point you back to page number 181.
Linking verb.
Yeah, it's a linking verb, okay? So linking verb can have what, and they've got that bolded word at the end, pianist, can be what?
Prepositional. Wait, no. Personal pronoun.
No, there's no, look at the top there.
The
There are
PN
5
thingy.
things. What?
PN thing.
Yeah, the PN thingy, right? The predicate nominative. So it, now ask yourself, is the pianist and Mr. Allmeyer the same people?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mr. Allmeyer is the pianist. So that's the linking verb. It's linking those two things together, okay? All right, so how about number 2? Let's look at the verb first. What is the verb?
Give.
Give.
Okay. Who or what give?
Ava.
Ah,
Mr. Thompson.
ah.
Understand. You think you.
Yes,
you.
it's the understood you. Ava is that one that says DA, direct address. All right. She's not the subject. She is the direct address. You notice how it's set off by a comma there. When it's set off by a comma, the name at the beginning of the sentence always going to be a direct address. All right. And so it, so then the subject is, as Eric had said, is understood you. Now, are there any prepositional phrases in this particular thing?
Of your time.
Yeah, of your time is a prepositional phrase, and there's nothing in there you have to worry about. So, what kind of verb is give?
Action verb.
Okay. So, an action verb can have what complements after it?
Direct object and indirect object.
All right. So, what did the understood you give?
Moment.
Okay. To whom or to what?
Mr. Thompson.
Very good. Okay. So, DO over moment and IO over Mr. Thompson. All right. Now, for the third one, Katie, what is the verb there?
Her microphone is muted.
Katie?
Her microphone is muted.
Katie, are you there? Maybe your thing's muted. It's muted. Your microphone's muted. It does that automatically. That's another reason we're going to Zoom tomorrow.
Sorry, it's just that my internet connection isn't really great with Skype.
It's not just you. I think because so many people are using it now, I think their servers are overwhelmed, and I think that's part of the reason. When we first started doing it, it worked great, but now it's starting to slow down a lot. So go ahead.
For the third one?
Yeah, third one. What's the verb there?
Can tell.
Okay, can tell, and then who or what can tell, Brianna? Are you muted now? Nope, you're not. Brianna?
I didn't hear the question because my internet went off a little bit.
Oh, okay. So number 3, Katie told us that can tell is the verb. So what is the subject there on number 3?
Me?
It's what?
Me?
So me can tell?
Tyler?
No, notice Tyler that has a comma after it. So what does that make Tyler?
You.
What is it? Remember we did it for number 2, the same thing for Ava.
Understood you.
No, that's not what I asked. I asked for Tyler. What is Tyler's, what does he function as there in that sentence? It would be the same thing as Ava.
Direct address.
Yeah, it's a direct address because there's a comma there separating it. That's going to be a direct address. So in the sentence, the subject is not the understood you. There's an actual written you in that sentence. You see, can you tell me? So you can tell. All right, so it's an action verb. So that means that you can have direct object or indirect object. So Eric, what is me in that one?
Direct object.
Yeah, direct object. And there is no indirect object in the sentence, actually. About the life of David, King David, are both prepositional phrases. And then the man after God's own heart is actually in a positive. It renames King David. All right, so number 4. Let's see if you can mark, everybody, go ahead and mark these 2 words. See if you can figure out what they are on your own. And I would suggest finding a subject and verb first, just to help you. All right, so would anybody like to volunteer to say what James is?
Me.
Okay, go ahead.
It's a direct object. I mean, man, it's a direct address.
Direct address, right. It's got commas on both sides. And what is the subject in that sentence then, Eric?
Subject is Madison.
That's correct. Madison is. And then what is cheerleader then? Juliana, what did you get?
Predicate nominative.
Okay, what about you, Brianna? What did you get?
Direct object.
What did you get, Katie?
She's muted.
Again, muted, yeah. Can you unmute your microphone there, Katie? I don't know, maybe she can't because sometimes it is having issues. All right, well, we'll just go ahead. It is a predicate nominative. Brianna, remember, you can't have a direct object unless it's an action verb, and is not an action verb. Is a linking verb, and so it's linking it to a predicate nominative in that one. All right, number 5. Subject is?
Miss
Mrs.
Remington.
Remington.
Mrs. Remington is the subject.
I had a
Verb
hard
is-
time logging in.
Verb is what?
It locked me out of Skype, and for some reason, I don't know why it locked me out of Skype, so I had to log in again.
That's fine. Yeah, Andre, we're sort of half hour into class, but I appreciate you letting me know. Just have to go back and watch so you can get the answers for math and then the answers for language and send me the what you got on those, okay? We're on number 5 on page 185. We're doing the using nouns part. At the bottom there, we're on number 5. Maybe we can help you. It would be good for you to watch the video, though, up to this point where you come in. So if you would, we'll let you go ahead and answer since you hadn't been a part of it yet. What is the verb in number 5?
On which page again?
185.
185?
Correct.
For number 5, it is May.
That's not even in there.
Which page again? I'm sorry.
185.
185, which number?
Using
Using
nouns at the
now-
bottom. The using
Oh.
verbs, using verbs was the thing you'll have to check. So
Okay. So using nouns for what number?
number 5, we just want to know what the subject and verb are.
Mrs. Remington is the subject and sent is the verb.
Okay, what kind of verb is that?
Action.
Okay, so that means that what are Addison and Brownies? What did she send?
Brownies.
Okay, to whom or for whom?
Addison.
Very good. Okay, so DO over Brownies and IO over Addison. Now, hopefully going over that will help you guys when you take that test tomorrow. But right now, go ahead to next page, page 186. Okay, this is another tricky one that's on that test. Okay, and they're trying to give you a little bit of practice here to help you to recognize something first. Number 1, Go ahead and write what you think the answer should be in your blank. All right. So, Eric, what did you put in the blank?
Was.
What did you put, Brianna?
Were.
What about you, Juliana?
Was.
What about you, Katie? You got to unmute again, if you can. How about you, Andre, while we're waiting for her? What's that?
Was.
Okay. 3 of you put was, 1 of you put were. Now, the one who put were, oh, what'd you get, Katie? Or you're not, never mind, you're not back up there yet. Okay. So the answer is was. Why is it was? Those that got was, why did you put was instead?
Because it doesn't mention.
It's a singular cluster.
Right. It's singular cluster. Of grapes is a prepositional phrase. Don't use that to decide the subject verb agreement. So you should take that out. So anytime you're in there, make sure you take that out. What about number 2? It says neither Mr. Smith nor we boys have the ability to sing.
You just
said the answer.
Oh, I did, didn't I? Sorry. Neither Mr. Smith nor we boys blank the ability to sing. So what's the answer?
have.
Have. Now, when it's the word nor in there, remember this, when you have the word nor, N-O-R, or the word or, O-R, you're only going to use the one that's closest to the verb to decide whether it's singular or plural. And since boys is plural, you have to use the plural verb. Okay? Number 3, I won't read it this time so I don't actually read the wrong thing. Andre, why don't you do number 3?
Boxes of fruit. The boxes of fruit are on their way.
Right. Boxes of fruit are already on their way because of fruit, again, is a prepositional phrase. Boxes, then, is plural, so you got to use the plural verb are. All right. Here's one. Let's let, have you come back in yet, Katie? No, looks like you can't. Can you not? I don't know if you're texting me or not. Maybe you're texting me. Let's see. Oh, I've only got 8 texts here for somebody. No, but you're not texting me. Okay. Can you come back on, Katie, or no? I assume if you're not coming on, you can't. Eric, why don't you try number 4?
There are.
That's right. There are many helpful books in our library. But we do have a tendency to say there's many helpful books in our libraries just because in conversation we speak that way, but there is many. It doesn't even sound right when we say it correctly like that either. Incorrectly like that. Okay, Brianna, how about number 5?
Have. No.
That's right, have, because it's both he and the catcher, so it's 2 people, and that means it's plural, and have is the word. Back to Andre, number 6.
Wait, Mr. Jones, when they say present, it doesn't mean like they're there, or is it like a present?
Well, how would it make sense if it was like a present you get?
Never mind.
It does mean everybody's there, yes.
Were.
Okay, go back to page 1. Long way back. 174. See the chart on 174 at the top there?
Yeah.
And you see under singular, you have the word, which word? That's there.
No one. Oh, everyone?
Everyone, yeah. Everyone. So it's singular, so you got to use a singular verb, which is was. Everyone present was in favor of the tax cut. All right.
Okay.
Number 7. Juliana.
Was.
Okay, why do you say was?
I don't know.
Okay. It's 50-50 chance. I'd take a guess.
Isn't it were?
That's not even one of the choices. Oh, yeah, it is. It is were, yeah. And the reason is because it's plural, because the one that's closest to the verb is advisors, and that means more than one advisor. And so that's plural, and so that means it should be were. Remember, when you use the word or nor, you have to look at the verb closest to the blank to know which, or closest to the verb to know which verb goes there. Eric, number 8.
Um,
And you can reference 174 if you need to.
are
Okay. What is of these books?
prepositional phrase.
Okay, so don't count that. And so either. Now go back to 174. And you see on the singular side on the column on the left, it says each, either, neither, and that's either right there. It's a singular verb or singular pronoun. So what is the singular verb that goes with that?
Wait, what?
Okay, so you see the word on number 8, the word either, which is a pronoun. Either is a singular pronoun, so it has to go with a singular verb. Does that make sense? Do you not know what a singular verb is?
Oh, yeah. Is
Do you have a question, or are you giving me an answer?
answer
Oh,
is
okay. Is the answer, because is a singular verb, and you know it's a singular verb because it ends in S for singular. All right, number 9. Julia, no, Brianna? I'll
Right.
let you do number. Right is correct. Of the students, again, is another prepositional phrase. Many, right, and many is a plural pronoun, which is on page 174, and so many, right. Okay? So you'll be doing using pronouns. You'll see there, I'll give you a hint. There are 3 correct sentences in that section there. These will not be for points. Oh, I say 3 correct. There are 6 correct because it carries over to the next page too. And then you do using verbs. Now tomorrow we'll meet at 1 o'clock, and then we'll quickly go over the answers for these. And then you guys can do the test afterwards. You can see what the answers are before you take the test. Now, if you feel like you want to take the test beforehand, that's fine. It's up to you. I won't make you take it afterward, but do make sure you understand these things first before you get a chance. But let me give you the sections that you need to know for the test. So get ready to write these down here. All right, so the first section is going to be like page 169B. 169B. It's a pronoun case. You're given a pronoun at the end of the sentence, and you got to write the form of whatever that is. For instance, if it's talking about he, you have to look at yourself, and you're saying that guy over there, he. And so you have to say, has Andrew or he ever been to Guam? Would have been the answer for that one. And so that's kind of the idea of what you're doing on that. All right, and so number 2, our second section is 181 to 182 A. So 181, 182A. And so you see there, that's the one where you had to decide what goes in the blank, which one gets in this case, underlined. They don't cross it out, they underline it. But just follow the directions there for that. And then page 179B for the next section. Now that's that's pretty close to it. All right. Now it's also going to ask you some things, so you need to know. I'll tell you this ahead of time. You need to know what interrogative pronouns are. You need to know what demonstrative pronouns are. You need to know what compound personal pronouns are and what indefinite pronouns are.
What was the third one?
Third one was compound personal pronouns. Compound pronouns. Can anybody tell me what any interrogative pronouns are?
Who?
Nobody? Everybody?
Who?
What's that?
Who?
Who is? Yes, that's correct. Who is a personal pronoun? I mean, interrogative pronoun. Remember, any of the interrogative pronouns start with the W. What, who, when, where, those type of things. How about, I'm sorry, not when and where, but who, whose, the ones that are, I don't remember which page they're on. I guess they're right here on page 178. So who, whom, whose, which, and what. All right. Bless you. All right. And then how about demonstrative pronouns? It's on that same page, actually.
Is.
This, yeah. This, that, these, and those. And so what they're going to ask you is from the sentences they give you, which are like what's on page 179B, they're going to ask you to identify which kind they are. Okay? So that's what they're going to do. All right. The next section, not last section, the fourth section is 172B. It's like 172B. So 172B, you're basically trying to decide if the pronoun is used correctly in the sentence. And so there'll be some of those compound ones, you know, like where they have like on number 7, it said, my brothers tried to repair my bike themselves, and it's supposed to be themselves instead. So there'll be a couple of those, and then you'll have some other ones that are in there correctly, or written incorrectly, I mean, that you need to correct. All right, number 7, then number 5, the fifth section is 176B. Now, it's 176B because they're looking for the right verb that goes in there. It's sort of give you a choice just like they do in here, except the choice isn't in the sentence. Isn't at the end of the sentence and there's a blank. The choice is actually where the verb would go in the thing. So it has 2 words there to choose, and then you write the right one in the blank. That's before the sentence starts. But you also have to underline the subject. So it's not just the verb. You also have to underline the subject. So that's good practice to remember to use your prepositional phrases for that so that you can remember to find the subject easily. And then the last section. Oh, these are always fun. Last year, I don't know what it was about people that had a hard time with this. But anyway, they're going to ask you to write sentences. These sentences that they're asking you to write are very specific as to what you have to put in the sentence and what kind of sentence to write. There are 2 of them. They're worth 4 points each, okay? You can get partial credit if you get part of what it's asking you to do correct, but you've got to write the right kind of sentence and include the things in there that are supposed to be in there, all right? That's it. Only 6 sections. I'll tell you which one is worth the most points. That one that's right before the end, it says the 176B with the subject and the verb, that's worth 20 points. And then the second part that I gave you is worth 20 points, the pronoun uses, and then the very first one I gave you is worth 24 points. All right, and that's using the proper, that's like 169B. So you want to focus on those 3 in particular to make sure you don't lose points. And please don't lose points by not underlining the subject when it tells you to underline the subject. Because you'll look at it and you won't read the whole thing, and you'll go, oh, I'm just going to put the right verb in the blank, and then you forget to fill in the subjects at all, and that's automatic. That's going to be 10 points off just from not putting the subjects there. And most of you will get the subjects pretty easily. So, all right. Any questions about anything?
No.
All right. That's all I have, unless you guys have something else. And tomorrow we will do Zoom. So I'm going to send the text out to you. You guys will probably get it still, even those of you who've already practiced it or tried it. Andre, do you have a Zoom account?
Yeah, I just downloaded it.
Okay. I'm going to, I'll send you the link. And in fact, I'll go ahead and open the meeting right now, and then you can connect to it right away so that you can see what it looks like, okay? And I'll send it to you in just a second here.
No, I just signed up.
What's that?
I signed up already.
I know. Can you get on it? with your phone or whatever you have there?
Yeah, I'll try.
So I'm going to tell you the meeting number. You ready for it?
Okay.
Okay,
Wait,
the meeting number.
let me get a paper to write it on.
Do we
All right.
too?
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, you can if you want to. It's 353-063-4394. Okay, that's the meeting number. And then the
Wait,
password.
what was the last
Okay, say that again.
What were the last numbers?
4394.
Thank you.
And then the
Yeah.
password is all caps CVBS. So I'm gonna start it right now. And then if you want to go ahead and try to connect to it, go ahead. All right?
Okay.
But I gotta hang up from here first, okay?
Okay.
All right. See you guys tomorrow.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Mr. Jones.